Dr. Alex Carter stared at the glowing screen in front of him, his coffee growing cold in the zero-gravity cup holder. The numbers made no sense. His scanner was picking up life signs from the dead moon below, and that should have been impossible. He had been studying space for 15 years, and dead moons did not have living creatures on them. Alex rubbed his tired eyes and looked at the screen again. The readings were still there. Something big was moving around down there, and there were smaller things with it. The computer said there were 5 life forms in total, 1 large and 4 much smaller ones. They were all together in what looked like a cave system near the middle of the moon. This can't be right, Alex said to himself. He was alone on his research ship, the New Horizon, floating in space around the moon of Kepler 442c. The moon was supposed to be empty, no air, no water, no life. Just rocks and dust and nothing else, but the scanner did not lie. Alex had built it himself, and he trusted it more than anything else on his ship. If it said there were living things down there, then there were living things down there. The question was, what kind of living things they were. Alex moved to the pilot's seat and fired up the ship's engines. He had to get closer to see what was happening. The New Horizon dropped down toward the moon's surface, and Alex kept his eyes on the scanner the whole time. The life signs were getting stronger. Whatever was down there, it was definitely alive. The moon's surface was gray and boring, covered in rocks and craters from old meteor hits. There were no trees, no plants, no signs of life anywhere. But the scanner kept beeping, telling Alex that something was alive in the caves below the surface. Alex landed his ship about a mile away from where the scanner said the life forms were. He put on his spacesuit and checked all the systems twice. The moon had almost no air, and what little air there was would not keep him alive for more than a few minutes. His suit would have to do all the work. He climbed into his small exploration pod and flew toward the cave system. As he got closer, he could see that something bad had happened here. There were fresh meteor craters everywhere, and rocks were scattered all over the place. It looked like a big space rock had hit the moon very recently. The scanner was going crazy now. The life signs were very strong, and they were coming from inside a cave that looked like it had been damaged by the meteor strike. Alex flew his pod as close as he could get, then landed on a flat piece of rock near the cave entrance. What he saw next made him forget to breathe for a moment. There, trapped under a pile of fallen rocks, was the most beautiful creature Alex had ever seen. It looked like a cat, but it was huge, about the size of a small horse. Its fur was covered in strange patterns that glowed with blue and purple light. The light pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat made of stars. The creature was trying to dig through the rocks with its big paws, but the rocks were too heavy. Behind her, Alex could see 4 smaller creatures that looked just like her. They were about the size of big dogs, and their fur glowed with the same beautiful light as their mother. Alex realized he was looking at a family. A mother and her 4 babies, all trapped in a cave that was falling apart. The meteor must have hit the moon and caused the cave to collapse, trapping them inside. The mother creature looked up at Alex with bright golden eyes that seemed to glow in the dark. She made a sound that was like a cat's meow, but deeper and more musical. It was the saddest sound Alex had ever heard. She was asking for help, and Alex knew it. Alex checked his suit's computer. The moon's thin air was getting thinner because of the meteor damage. The cave system was breaking apart, and soon there would be no air at all. The beautiful creatures would die if someone did not help them soon. The mother cat kept staring at Alex with those golden eyes. She seemed to know that he was her only hope. The babies were making small crying sounds, and their lights were getting dimmer. They were scared and tired, and they needed help right away. Alex's mind raced. He was not supposed to interfere with alien life forms. The rules were very clear about that. If he found alien life, he was supposed to record it and report back to Earth. He was not supposed to touch it or help it or change anything about it, but these creatures were going to die if he did nothing. The cave was falling apart, and the air was running out. In a few hours, maybe less, the whole place would collapse or the air would be gone completely. The mother and her babies would be dead. Alex looked at the mother cat again. She had stopped trying to dig through the rocks and was just looking at him. Her eyes were so intelligent, so aware. She knew what was happening. She knew she was going to die, and she knew her babies were going to die too. But she was still hoping that this strange creature in the metal suit might be able to help her. The babies were huddled close to their mother, their glowing fur making them look like little stars in the darkness of the cave. They were so small, so helpless. They had never hurt anyone. They did not deserve to die because a space rock had hit their home. Alex tried to contact Earth, but his radio was not working. The moon was behind a big gas giant, and the signal could not get through. He was completely alone out here, with no one to tell him what to do. The choice was his and his alone. His ship's computer, Aria, spoke to him through his suit radio. Alex, the cave system is very unstable. If you try to help these creatures, you might get trapped too. Your oxygen will run out, and you will die with them. Alex knew Aria was right. His ship did not have the right tools for this kind of rescue. He did not have enough air to work for very long. If something went wrong, he would be stuck on this dead moon forever, and no one would ever find him. But he also knew that he could not just fly away and leave these creatures to die. He was a scientist, and scientists were supposed to care about all life, not just human life. These creatures were alive, they were intelligent, and they were in trouble. That was all that mattered. Alex looked at the mother cat one more time. She was still watching him, still hoping. Her babies were getting weaker, their lights dimming as the air got thinner. Time was running out. He made his choice. He would try to save them, even if it meant risking his own life. He could not live with himself if he just walked away and let them die. Some things were more important than rules and safety. Some things were worth risking everything for. The mother cat seemed to understand what Alex was thinking. She made that musical meowing sound again, but this time it sounded like gratitude. She knew he was going to try to help them, and she was thanking him for it. Alex started planning the rescue. He would need to be very careful, very smart, and very lucky. But he was going to try. He was going to save this alien family or die trying. The golden eyes of the mother cat watched him as he worked, full of hope and trust. She had put her faith in this strange creature from another world, and Alex was not going to let her down. Alex stood at the edge of the cave entrance, staring at the trapped alien family. His heart was beating fast, and his hands were shaking inside his spacesuit gloves. He had never faced a choice like this before. Everything he had been taught, as a scientist, told him to walk away. Everything he felt as a human, being told him to stay and help. The mother cat was still looking at him with those bright golden eyes. She seemed to know that he was thinking about what to do. Her 4 babies were making soft crying sounds, and their glowing fur was getting dimmer. They were running out of time, and everyone knew it. Alex walked back to his exploration pod and sat down in the pilot's seat. He needed to think clearly. He pulled up the mission rules on his computer screen and read them again. The words were very clear. Under no circumstances should expedition members interfere with alien life forms. All contact must be reported to Earth Command immediately. But Earth Command was millions of miles away, and these creatures would be dead long before any message could reach them. The cave system was breaking apart piece by piece. The thin air was leaking out through cracks in the rocks. Alex's computer said the alien family had maybe 4 hours left, possibly less. Aria, Alex said to his ship's computer, what would happen if I tried to move those rocks? The probability of success is very low, Aria replied in her calm electronic voice. The cave structure is extremely unstable. Any attempt to move the larger rocks could cause a complete collapse. You would likely be crushed along with the creatures you are trying to save. Alex rubbed his forehead. What about using the ship's mining laser? Could we cut through the rocks? The mining laser would take approximately 6 hours to cut through rocks of that size and density. The creatures will be dead from lack of oxygen before the work is complete. Alex felt frustration building inside him. Every solution seemed impossible. He was just one person with a small research ship. He did not have the equipment or the time to do this job properly. The smart thing to do was to record everything and leave. That was what any reasonable person would do. He looked at the video feed from his pod's camera. The mother cat was trying to dig again, even though her paws were bleeding now. The blue and purple light from her fur was mixing with red spots of blood on the rocks. She was hurting herself, but she would not give up trying to save her babies. One of the babies, the smallest one, was not moving much anymore. Its fur was barely glowing at all. Alex realized it was dying right in front of him. In a few more minutes, it would be gone forever. Alex, Arya said, your oxygen levels are at 60%. If you stay here much longer, you will not have enough air to return to the ship safely. Alex knew Arya was right. His spacesuit only carried so much air, and he had already been outside for 2 hours. If he stayed to help the creatures, he might die with them. His sister Kate back on Earth would never know what happened to him. His parents would spend the rest of their lives wondering if he was still alive, somewhere. But as he watched the mother cat desperately trying to save her babies, Alex thought about his sister's 2 cats back home. Whiskers and Mittens were just normal Earth cats, but Kate loved them like they were her own children. If someone found them trapped and dying, Alex would want that person to help them, even if it was dangerous. These alien cats were not so different from Earth cats. They had the same love for their babies. They had the same will to live. They were just bigger and more beautiful, with their glowing fur and musical voices. They deserved to live just as much as any creature on Earth. Alex made up his mind. He could not leave them to die. He would rather die trying to save them than live knowing he had walked away when they needed help. That was not the kind of person he wanted to be. He climbed out of his pod and walked back to the cave entrance. The mother cat saw him coming, and made that musical meowing sound again. This time it sounded hopeful. She seemed to understand that he was going to try to help them. Alex knelt down next to the pile of rocks, and started examining them carefully. Some of the rocks were smaller and might be moved by hand. Others were huge and would need the mining laser. But maybe, if he was very careful and very lucky, he could move enough of the small rocks to create a path. For the babies to crawl out, he started with a rock about the size of a basketball. It was heavy, but he could lift it in the moon's low gravity. He moved it aside and saw the mother cat's ears perk up. She was watching everything he did. The next rock was bigger, about the size of a trash can. Alex had to use all his strength to move it, and he was breathing hard inside his suit. But he managed to roll it away from the pile. The mother cat made an approving sound. As Alex worked, he noticed something amazing. The mother cat was helping him. She was using her powerful paws to push smaller rocks toward him so he could move them more easily. She was also making sure her baby stayed calm and quiet while he worked. "You're a smart one, aren't you?" Alex said to her. Even though she could not understand his words, she seemed to understand his tone. Her golden eyes looked friendly now. Not just desperate. After an hour of work, Alex had moved about 20 rocks. It was not much, but it was a start. The pile was still too big for the babies to get out, but Alex could see that the mother cat was feeling more hopeful. Her fur was glowing brighter, and she was making soft purring sounds. "Alex," Arya warned, "your oxygen is now at 30%. You need to return to the ship soon." Alex looked at his work. He had barely made a dent in the pile of rocks. At this rate, it would take him all day to clear a path, and he did not have all day. His air was running out, and so was the air in the cave. He sat down on a rock and tried to think of a better plan. Maybe he could use his small emergency explosives to blast away some of the bigger rocks, but that was very dangerous. If he used too much explosive, he could bring down the whole cave. If he used too little, it would not help at all. The mother cat crawled over to him and gently touched his spacesuit with her nose. Her fur was so bright up close that it was like looking at a living rainbow. She made soft sounds that Alex somehow understood meant thank you. She knew he was trying to help, even if it seemed impossible. Alex looked at the 4 babies. 3 of them were still moving around, but the smallest one was very weak. Its eyes were closed and its breathing was shallow. It might only have minutes left. "I'm not giving up," Alex said out loud. "I'm going to save you all somehow." The mother cat tilted her head as if she was listening to his words. Then she did something that surprised Alex. She reached out with one paw and very gently touched his helmet. It was like she was trying to pet him, the way a cat might pet a person who was being kind to them. In that moment, Alex felt a connection to this alien creature that was stronger than anything he had ever felt before. They were from different worlds, different species, but they both understood love and sacrifice and the need to protect the innocent. Alex stood up and walked back to his pod. He had made his choice and there was no going back now. He was going to save this family, no matter what it cost him. Alex climbed back into his exploration pod and started the engines. He had a new plan and it was dangerous, but it was the only chance the alien family had. He flew the pod back to his main ship, the New Horizon, as fast as he could. Every minute the past was a minute closer to death for the creatures trapped in the cave. Once inside his ship, Alex ran to the equipment storage room. He needed the mining laser, but not the big one that was built into the ship. He needed the small portable one that he used for collecting rock samples. It was not as powerful as the main laser, but it was something he could carry. "Aria," Alex said as he pulled the laser from its storage case, "I need you to scan the cave structure again. I want to know exactly which rocks I can move without causing the whole thing to collapse." "Alex, I must remind you that this plan is extremely dangerous. The cave system is very unstable. Even small vibrations could cause a complete collapse." "I know the risks," Alex replied, checking the laser's power cells, "but I'm not leaving those creatures to die. Now please scan the cave structure." Aria's sensors went to work, sending invisible beams down to the moon's surface. After a few minutes, she had a complete picture of the cave system. Alex looked at the results on his computer screen. The cave was worse than he had thought. Most of the rocks were holding each other up like a house of cards. If he moved the wrong rock, everything would fall down, but there was hope. Aria had found a few rocks that could be moved safely. They were not the biggest rocks, but if Alex could remove them in the right order, he might be able to create a small tunnel that the babies could crawl through. Alex put on a fresh oxygen tank and grabbed some extra tools. He also took some emergency food and water. If this rescue took longer than expected, he would need supplies. He loaded everything into his exploration pod and flew back to the cave. The mother cat was still there, still trying to dig through the rocks with her bleeding paws. When she saw Alex coming back, her golden eyes lit up with hope. She made that musical meowing sound, and Alex could swear it sounded like she was saying, "Welcome back." Alex landed his pod and walked over to the cave entrance. The smallest baby was barely moving now. Its fur was so dim that Alex could hardly see it. He did not have much time. "Okay, girl," Alex said to the mother cat. "We're going to work together. On this, I need you to trust me and do exactly what I do." The mother cat tilted her head, listening to his voice. She seemed to understand that he had a plan. When Alex knelt down next to a specific rock, she came over and sniffed it. When he pointed to where he wanted her to push, she put her powerful paws in that exact spot. Alex turned on the mining laser and set it to its lowest power setting. He aimed it at the first rock on Aria's safe list. The laser made a quiet humming sound as it slowly cut through the stone. The mother cat watched with great interest, her ears perked up. The first rock took 20 minutes to cut through. It was slow work, but Alex was being very careful. When the rock finally broke apart, he and the mother cat worked together to move the pieces away from the pile. The mother cat was incredibly strong. She could move rocks that would have taken Alex 10 minutes to move by himself. "You're amazing," Alex told her. "I've never seen anything like you," the mother cat purred in response. It was a deep, rumbling sound that Alex could feel through his spacesuit. It was the most beautiful sound he had ever heard. As they worked on the second rock, Alex noticed something wonderful. The babies were getting excited. They could see that their mother and this strange creature were working together to save them. The three stronger babies were making soft chirping sounds, and even the weak ones seemed to be breathing a little better. The second rock was bigger than the first, and it took 40 minutes to cut through. Alex's oxygen was getting lower, but He tried not to think about it. He focused on the work, on the feeling of hope that was growing in his chest. When the second rock was moved away, Alex could see that they had made real progress. There was now a small opening in the rock pile, about the size of a large doghouse. It was not big enough for the mother cat, but it might be big enough for the babies. Alex pointed to the opening and then pointed to the babies. The mother cat looked at the opening, then at her babies, then back at Alex. She seemed to understand what he was suggesting, but she was not ready to let her babies go yet. "It's okay," Alex said gently. "I'm going to make the opening bigger, but first, let's see if the babies can fit through." The mother cat made a decision. She went to her babies and made soft sounds to them. The strongest baby, a young male with bright silver markings, came forward. His mother nudged him toward the opening. The baby was scared. He had never been away from his mother before, but he trusted her and he could smell Alex's scent on her fur. Slowly, carefully, he squeezed through the opening. When he emerged on the other side, safe and free, he made a happy chirping sound. His fur blazed with bright blue and purple light, and he ran over to Alex. The baby was about the size of a medium dog, but when he stood up on his back legs, he was as tall as Alex's waist. The baby alien cat did something that made Alex's heart melt. He pressed his furry head against Alex's spacesuit and started purring. It was like he was saying thank you in the only way he knew how. The mother cat was so happy to see her baby safe that her fur became brighter than Alex had ever seen it. She made encouraging sounds to her other babies, and soon the second one was squeezing through the opening. This baby was a female with golden stripes. She was a little smaller than her brother, and she got through the opening more easily. As soon as she was free, she ran to her brother, and they both pressed against Alex's legs, purring together. The third baby was another male, bigger than the other two. He had some trouble getting through the opening, but with his mother's encouragement and Alex's gentle pulling, he made it through. Now 3 of the 4 babies were safe, but the 4th baby, the smallest and weakest one, was in bad shape. She was a tiny female with fur that was mostly silver with just a few purple spots. Her breathing was very shallow, and she could barely lift her head. The mother cat made worried sounds as she looked at her weakest baby. She knew that this little one might not have the strength to crawl through the opening, even though she was the smallest. Alex looked at his oxygen gauge. He was down to 15%. That was dangerously low. Arya was sending warning signals to his suit, telling him he needed to get back to the ship soon, but Alex could not leave now. Not when they were so close to saving the whole family. He had to find a way to get the mother cat and her weakest baby out of the cave. "We're not giving up," Alex said to the mother cat. "We're going to get all of you out of here." The mother cat looked at him with those golden eyes, and Alex saw something in them that he had never seen before. It was complete trust. She believed in him. She knew that he would not abandon her or her baby. Alex picked up his mining laser again. He was going to make that opening bigger, no matter what it took. The mother cat and her weakest baby were going to be free, even if it was the last thing he ever did. The 3 rescued babies gathered around Alex's legs, their fur glowing brightly in the darkness. They seemed to know that their human friend was going to save their mother and sister. They purred together, creating a beautiful harmony that filled Alex with determination. The real work was just beginning. Alex stared at the small opening in the rock pile. 3 baby cats were safe, but the mother and the weakest baby were still trapped. The opening was too small for the mother cat to fit through, and the sick baby was too weak to move on her own. "Arya," Alex said into his radio, "how much time do I have left?" "Your oxygen is at 12%, Arya replied. "You have approximately 20 minutes before you must return to the ship. The cave atmosphere is also failing rapidly. I estimate 15 minutes before the remaining air becomes unbreathable." Alex felt sweat running down his face inside his helmet. 15 minutes to save 2 lives. It seemed impossible, but he had to try. He looked at the mother cat, who was lying next to her weakest baby. The little one was so small and still. Her fur was barely glowing at all. The mother cat looked at Alex with her golden eyes. She seemed to know that time was running out. She made soft sounds to her weakest baby, trying to encourage her to move, but the little one could barely lift her head. Alex studied the rock pile carefully. To make the opening big enough for the mother cat, he would need to remove 3 more large rocks. But these rocks were supporting other rocks above them. If he cut them the wrong way, the whole cave could collapse. There has to be another way, Alex said to himself. He walked around the cave entrance looking for another opening or a weak spot in the rocks. But the meteor strike had sealed the cave completely except for the small opening he had already created. The 3 rescued babies were staying close to Alex, their fur glowing brightly. They seemed to understand that their mother and sister were in danger. They made soft crying sounds and kept looking back at the cave entrance. Alex made a decision that scared him. He was going to use his emergency explosives to blast away the rocks that were blocking the opening. It was incredibly dangerous. Too much explosive would kill everyone in the cave. Too little would not help at all. But it was the only chance they had. Alex walked back to his exploration pod and got his emergency blast charges. They were small explosives designed to clear obstacles in space. He had never used them on a planet before, and he had definitely never used them to save alien lives. Arya, Alex said, I need you to calculate the exact amount of explosive needed to widen the opening without collapsing the cave. Alex, I cannot recommend this course of action. The risk of cave collapse is over 70%. You will likely die along with the creatures you are trying to save. Just do the calculation, Alex said firmly. Please, Arya was quiet for a moment, then she spoke again. Based on the cave structure, you would need to place charges in 3 specific locations. The total explosive force must be precise within 2% or the cave will collapse. Alex looked at the numbers on his computer screen. The margin for error was tiny. If he used even slightly too much explosive, everyone would die. If he used too little, the rocks would not move enough to save the mother cat. The mother cat was watching him work. She seemed to understand that he was preparing something important. When Alex knelt down to place the first explosive charge, she moved closer to her weakest baby and covered the little one with her own body. Alex placed the charges exactly where Arya had calculated. His hands were shaking as he worked, but he forced himself to be precise. The lives of the mother cat and her baby depended on getting this exactly right. The 3 rescued babies seemed to sense that something big was about to happen. They moved away from the cave entrance and huddled together near Alex's exploration pod. Their fur was pulsing with nervous energy. Alex finished placing the charges and walked back to a safe distance. He looked at the mother cat one more time. She was still protecting her weakest baby with her own body. Her golden eyes met his, and Alex saw something amazing in them. She trusted him completely. Even though she did not understand what he was doing, she believed that he was trying to save them. I'm going to get you out of there, Alex promised her. Both of you, Alex activated the charges. For a moment, everything was quiet. Then the explosions hit. The sound was deafening even through Alex's helmet. The ground shook violently and dust and rocks flew everywhere. Alex could not see anything through the cloud of dust and debris. He held his breath, waiting to see if his plan had worked or if he had just killed the creatures he was trying to save. When the dust settled, Alex's heart stopped. The cave entrance was completely blocked. Where the opening had been, there was now a solid wall of rocks. It looked like the explosion had made things worse, not better. No, Alex shouted. He ran toward the blocked entrance, but the 3 rescued babies ran in front of him, making urgent sounds. They were trying to tell him something, but Alex could not understand what. Then Alex heard it. A sound coming from the other side of the rock pile. It was the mother cat, and she was calling to him. She was still alive. Alex listened more carefully. The sound was not coming from the original cave entrance. It was coming from somewhere else. Alex followed the sound and found something wonderful. The explosion had not just moved the rocks blocking the entrance. It had also cracked open a new opening on the side of the cave. This new opening was much bigger than the first one. It was big enough for the mother cat to fit through easily. Alex could see her inside, still protecting her weakest baby. She was covered in dust, but she was alive and unhurt. "Come on, girl," Alex called to her. "You can get out now." The mother cat looked at the new opening, then at her weakest baby. The little one was still too weak to move on her own. The mother cat could not carry her and crawl through the opening at the same time. Alex did not hesitate. He crawled through the new opening and into the cave. His oxygen was down to 8% now, but he did not care. He was going to carry the weakest baby out himself. The cave was dark and dusty, but Alex's helmet light showed him the way. The mother cat watched as he approached her weakest baby. She made soft sounds as if she was telling her baby that the strange creature was there to help. Alex picked up the little alien cat very carefully. She was so light, like holding a small pillow. Her fur was soft and warm, and Alex could feel her tiny heartbeat against his arms. She opened her eyes and looked at him. Her eyes were the same golden color as her mother's, but they were much smaller and more fragile. "Don't worry, little one," Alex whispered. "I'm going to get you out of here." Alex carried the baby to the new opening. The mother cat followed right behind him, making encouraging sounds. When they reached the opening, Alex handed the baby through. To the outside, where her 3 siblings were waiting, the mother cat squeezed through the opening next. She was much bigger than her babies, and it was a tight fit, but she made it. As soon as she was outside, she ran to her weakest baby and started licking her face and purring. The little baby's fur began to glow a little brighter. Being with her mother and breathing the fresh air was helping her get stronger. All 4 babies were now safe, and their mother was free. Alex crawled out of the cave last. As soon as he was outside, his oxygen alarm started beeping loudly. He was down to 4%. He had to get back to his ship immediately or he would die. But before he could move, something amazing happened. The mother cat walked over to him and gently touched his helmet with her nose. Her 3 stronger babies gathered around his legs, purring loudly. Even the weakest baby, held in her mother's arms, reached out one tiny paw and touched Alex's glove. They were saying goodbye, and they were saying thank you. Alex felt tears in his eyes as he looked at this beautiful alien family that he had risked everything to save. They were alive, they were together, and they were free. Alex stood up slowly. His legs felt weak and his heart was pounding, but he had done it. He had saved them all. Alex ran toward his exploration pod as fast as he could. His oxygen alarm was beeping continuously now, warning him that he only had minutes left to live. Behind him, the alien cat family watched with worried golden eyes. They seemed to understand that their rescuer was now in danger. Alex climbed into his pod and started the engines. As he lifted off from the moon's surface, he looked down at the 5 alien cats. The mother was holding her weakest baby close, while the 3 stronger babies sat in a circle around them. Their fur was glowing brightly against the gray rocks of the moon. "Goodbye," Alex whispered, even though he knew they could not hear him. But as his pod rose higher into the black space above the moon, Alex realized something that made his heart race. The alien cats had no way to survive on the moon's surface. The meteor strike had destroyed their home and poisoned the thin atmosphere. Even though he had saved them from the cave, they would still die if he left them there. Alex made another impossible decision. He was going to take them with him. Alex flew his pod back down to the moon's surface and landed near the alien family. When he opened the pod's door, the mother cat tilted her head in confusion. She had thought he was leaving forever. Alex climbed out of his pod, even though his oxygen was now at 2%. He had maybe 5 minutes before his air ran out completely. He walked over to the alien family and pointed to his pod, then pointed to them. The mother cat was very smart. She understood immediately what Alex was offering. He wanted to take them away from this dead moon to safety, but she was also worried. The pod was not very big, and there were 5 of them plus Alex. Alex opened all the storage compartments in his pod and started throwing out everything that was not absolutely necessary. Tools, rock samples, extra equipment, all of it went onto the moon's surface. He needed to make room for 5 large alien cats. The mother cat watched him work, and then she did something amazing. She started helping. She picked up the things Alex had thrown out and moved them farther away from the pod. Her three stronger babies helped too, carrying smaller items in their mouths. When they had cleared enough space, Alex gestured for the family to get into the pod. The mother cat went first, carrying her weakest baby very carefully. The little one was looking much better now. Her fur was glowing softly and her eyes were bright and alert. The three other babies climbed into the pod next. They were excited and curious about all the buttons and screens inside. Alex had to gently move them away from the important controls. The pod was very crowded now, but everyone fit. Alex climbed into the pilot seat and sealed the pod's door. Immediately, his suit's computer detected the pod's oxygen supply and stopped the warning beeps. He had made it just in time. The flight back to Alex's main ship, the New Horizon, took 10 minutes. The alien cats were fascinated by everything they saw. The three stronger babies pressed their faces against the pod's windows, looking out at the stars and making excited chirping sounds. The mother cat held her weakest baby and purred softly. When they reached the New Horizon, Alex faced a new problem. His ship's airlock was designed for humans, not for large alien cats. But once again, the mother cat showed how smart she was. She understood that they needed to go through the small doorway one at a time. Alex went first to make sure the ship's air was safe for the aliens to breathe. Arya had been working to adjust the atmosphere, and the computer confirmed that the alien cats could survive on the ship without any problems. The mother cat came through the airlock next, still carrying her weakest baby. As soon as she stepped onto the ship, her fur began glowing even brighter. She seemed to like the warm, clean air inside the New Horizon. The three other babies came through the airlock one by one. They were amazed by the ship's lights and sounds. Everything was new and exciting to them. They ran around the cargo bay, exploring every corner and sniffing everything with great interest. Alex watched them with a smile on his face. For the first time in hours, he felt truly happy. The alien family was safe, they were together, and they were going to live, but Alex's problems were far from over. His ship was designed for one person, not for 5 large alien cats. The life support systems were working overtime to provide enough air and heat for everyone. The food situation was even worse. Alex had enough food for himself for 2 weeks, but he had no idea what the alien cats ate. The answer came when Alex opened a container of his emergency rations. The smell of the food made all 5 alien cats very interested. The mother cat approached carefully and sniffed the container. Then she took a small bite and made an approving sound. It turned out that the alien cats could eat the same food as humans. They especially liked the dried fruits and the protein bars. Alex was relieved. At least they would not starve during the long journey back to human space. The next few days were unlike anything Alex had ever experienced. The alien cats quickly made themselves at home on his ship. The mother cat, whom Alex had started calling Luna because of her glowing fur, learned how to operate some of the ship's simple controls. She was incredibly intelligent and seemed to understand that the ship was taking them somewhere safe. The 3 stronger babies, whom Alex named Star, Comet, and Nova, were full of energy and curiosity. They loved to float in the ship's low gravity areas and play with anything that moved or made noise. Alex had to baby-proof many of the ship's systems to keep them from accidentally breaking something important. The weakest baby, whom Alex called Hope, was getting stronger every day. She was still smaller than her siblings, but her fur was glowing brightly now, and she was starting to play with the others. Luna never let her get too far away, but she was clearly feeling much better. Alex discovered that the alien cats communicated through more than just sounds. Their glowing fur patterns could change to express different emotions. Bright, fast pulses meant excitement. Slow, steady glows meant contentment. Dim, irregular patterns meant worry or fear. The cats also seemed to understand that Alex was taking care of them. They brought him small gifts like interesting rocks they found in the cargo bay, and they would purr when he was feeling sad or tired. It was like having 5 very large, very intelligent pets. On the 4th day of their journey, Alex received a message from Earth Command. His radio was finally working again, and the commanders back on Earth were very angry. They wanted to know why he had not reported in and why his ship was taking so long to return. Alex looked at Luna and her babies, who were sleeping peacefully in the cargo bay. Their fur was glowing softly like night lights, and they looked completely at peace. He made another decision that would change his life forever. He told Earth Command the truth. Everything, the trapped alien family, the dangerous rescue, his choice to bring them aboard his ship. He expected to be arrested when he got back to Earth. He expected to lose his job and maybe go to prison. The response from Earth Command surprised him. Some people were angry, just as he had expected, but many others were excited and amazed. Alex had made the first successful contact with an intelligent alien species. He had proven that humans and aliens could work together and trust each other. Luna seemed to sense that something important was happening. She came over to Alex and gently touched his arm with her paw. Her golden eyes looked into his, and Alex saw something there that made him feel proud of what he had done. He saw gratitude, friendship, and hope for the future. Alex had not just saved 5 alien lives. He had opened the door to a new chapter in the history of both species. The New Horizon continued its journey through space, carrying its precious cargo toward Earth and toward a future that no one could have imagined.